What's up, y'all, man? This is Snow Blunt Talk, and I'm back to send a message. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting till the second, the seconds of the time go by to, really get into saying my curse words. But today we're gonna be roasting the God of the Old Testament. We are going to be roasting Yahweh. We're gonna be getting rid of this bitch ass nigga. Yes, you nigga. And we're going to basically, deconstruct this whole myth, that makes people fervently believe in him and then push him onto other people, you know what I'm saying? And really, I want y'all to know that when it comes to, the parts of this video that are going to be dealing with mythology and history, it's a bit under researched. This is a little bit, I put in roasting Yahweh as the title, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek video, but really the whole crux of the video is putting faith ahead of fear and, championing the fact that we moving into a new age. You feel me? We are moving past the age of Pisces, the age that Jesus Christ ruled, because this is, don't get it twisted. Don't get it misconstrued. You see me? This is not a roast of Jesus Christ. I love Jesus Christ, okay? We are roasting the warrior God. Yes, the warrior God, because Yahweh, if you don't know already, is a God. He's a deity, not the one and true God, okay? How can someone be the creator of all things and be a man? The creator of all things has to encompass the masculine and feminine. Personally, I believe the creator of all things is creation. It's like this energy, you know what I'm saying? It encompasses everything, masculinity, femininity, all this stuff. But I digress. So what started this, thought path of me to want to roast Yahweh? Well, like most of y'all, I grew up, you know what I'm saying, when I was a young lad, my mom introduced me to the first books of the Old Testament. And by the first books, I really remember her just teaching me, Adam and Eve. And as I got older, I did a little bit more research, you know what I'm saying? Because I was a Christian, I'd say up until about 13, 14, you know what I'm saying? I remember at 12, I remember still firmly being a Christian. I don't know, like, oh man, I love God, I love Jesus, Jesus is everything. But you know what I'm saying? I believed in it. You know what I'm saying? Up until then, I went to church regularly. That was really the main metric, you feel me? Which is weird. You're going to notice a lot of weird juxtapositions in worshiping this Abrahamic God. Why? First of all, feeling religious is not supposed to be, you go to a material building every week. It's supposed to be in your heart. The church is supposed to be in your soul. I don't understand. And that's how like, this whole, church thing is just a goddamn scam. Because how are you going to convince me to come to, especially the fucking Catholic Church? Because how are you going to convince me to come to a building every single week and give y'all money and that's praising God? What? God is in each and every one of our hearts, bro. God is love. Yahweh is a warrior who was sent down. If you don't know the mythology, I'm going to get into it after this. I do this video as freestyle. I'm trying to, go chronologically or stay on one point, then go to another. So, you know what I'm saying? As I got older, I kind of just didn't resonate with Christianity as much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember it was a very stark moment. Me and my family, we were going back from a road trip, you know what I'm saying? And then usually, because my family is Christian, we say a prayer before we head out on a big trek. And you know what? That's beautiful. As a matter of fact, before I go out on road trips, I even have this thing, I don't know if y'all can see it on my car, Saint Christopher protect us, because even though I'm not necessarily Christian, I don't subscribe to that whole Judeo-Christian, pantheon of gods and angels. I feel like everything is energy, you feel me? So if somebody gives me something, from a saint to protect me, that's energy, bro. Like, that's, protective energy, and I appreciate that. And I also want to say this. If you believe in Yahweh and you follow him, this is not a video to convince you that you're wrong or whatever. I feel like if you believe in anything higher than you as a human, you made the right decision. But yeah, so that's my personal path to Christianity. And then when I was about 18, that's when that whole, spiritual YouTube thing happened. And then, I started getting more into spirituality and research and stuff. And even though that whole wave kind of fell off, I just kept digging. 2021, I got into, looking into a lot of, because really what the whole allure of the spiritual thing was, like, oh, the elites is trying to get us. So, if you know anything about elites, and I'm going to try not to get too specific in this video. I don't know who's trying to take down motherfuckers' videos and shit, and who's fucking, knocking down motherfuckers' videos based on what you talk about. If you know anything about elites, they know a lot about occultism. You know, and by occultism, this is what y'all Christian motherfuckers got to get out your heads, right? Everything that has to do with the occult and stuff, it's not inherently bad or satanic. See, this is one of the main problems with people who like swing that way. They like to look at things that aren't the way their God believes. Like they think that having another system of belief is inherently satanic, like Satan put that on the earth. Bitch, what? No, okay? Occult knowledge is just knowledge about how the world works and metaphysics and stuff like that. Now, have evil people with very, very human material, i.e. bad, because when I say bad or like material or human, I get that's really that's really satanic. You know what I'm saying? Satanism is not, you know, some force of evil against the world. It's just anything where you let your human goals and motivations get the best of, you know, your spiritual being. So you have very, very greedy material humans who have taken this occult knowledge, which is very powerful, and corrupted it and used it for their own human motivations. I believe that this is wrong. Let the record show. But you know what I'm saying? Let's jump straight into it. So as I was doing this occult research and knowledge, I came across this book that I'm rereading now, but it's called The Secret History of the World by Mark Booth, okay? And in this book, he basically delves into, you know what I'm saying, what the esoteric schools of thought, you know, believe in terms of the creation of the world and how everything came to be. Now, I read this book once before, and I remember when I was reading it, I was really just looking to, you know, learn about, you know, stuff I want to learn about. I wasn't really reading it for a thorough reading. I was just, you know, going through the chapters, you know, trying to find juicy information. But this time I'm really reading to, you know, get the breadth of the information. You know what I'm saying? And I read something very, very enlightening in one of the chapters. It said, so basically the ancients, you know what I'm saying? They were very curious. And in terms of something higher, all they had to look for was literally higher. So a lot of ancient wisdom is based on the planets and based on how they affect us, i.e. astrology, bro. I don't give a fuck what your toxic ex-girlfriend said to you about your sign or whatever. Astrology is very real, my nigga. It's very real. Not even on the like terms of, because people are very capricious. You know what I'm saying? People could be influenced by their surroundings, how they want to act, this, that, and the other thing. So when it comes to like personality wise, I don't think saying, because even ask any astrologer, your sun sign isn't the sign that's the most like you or that's your personality. No. It's very different. It's much more complex. But in terms of how the world works at large, bro, astrology is very real. And how you have is the planet of desire and confusion, because desire is one of the, you know, human emotions that's the most rooted in us. I talked about it in my last video. So you have people, you have the planet of Venus, which comes with this influence where we have desire, and therefore we have the very essential human contradiction, the problem of wanting things even though we are everything and anything all at once. So now that we've started getting this mindset of wanting things that are outside of us, now this is where, you know what I'm saying? This is where a lot of human issues are coming from. A lot of problems are coming from. They come from this very rooted problem. So you have Venus, which is the influence of desire, and it brings a lot of confusion. It's the reason why in the world we're so confused and contradicted. So the moon god, which is Yahweh, historically was a warrior god, okay? In the Bible, they referred to, in the Hebrew Bible, they refer to the Elohim beginning the world. Elohim is not one god, it's several gods. Oh, and another thing y'all gotta understand, and shout out to my guy who made the Yahweh video. I promise y'all, if y'all want a way more comprehensive history of the God himself, Yahweh, watch that video and read the literature he suggests, because he put me on to something crazy. So I already explained, you know, the whole Elohim thing and how Elohim is actually a plural term, but in Hebrew folklore or whatever, Jewish folklore, El is like the God of gods. So like, it's like El is up here and then Yahweh is somewhere down here. So El is the God who is loving and compassionate. And basically the reason why you have this, you know, dichotomous God in the Bible is because they're basically, some of El's characteristics were just projected onto Yahweh in folklore, to the point where in the Bible they're talking about two different gods. When it's, so that's why it seemed like 1 second he's loving, compassionate, 1 second he's mean and tearing down stuff, because The one who's like destructive and everything, that's Yahweh, but the one who's loving is El. You see, God is love. You know, even the ancients, they knew that the supreme God of everything is love. The ancients believed in a pantheon of gods who created the world, and this pantheon of gods is manifested in the influence of the planets. So the God that, you know, rules our desire, makes us confused and everything, you have Yahweh, the warrior God, coming to fight this influence and, you know, lay down laws. That's why the Bible, the Old Testament, this guy is very dramatic. He's very dogmatic. You know what I'm saying? He's laying down rules because that's how you basically, you know, you defeat desire. And you also defeat desire by having this, you know, fearful figure that says, okay, if you do this, you're going to hell. If you do this, you're going to hell. Now it's very clear what you want to do and don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's really the influence of Yahweh. And I don't believe that he's inherently, you know, bad. You know what I'm saying? I just believe that his influence has caused a lot of stress and bad thing. And his influence was very necessary for this age of Pisces, which Pisces is a sign of dreaminess, belief. And because it's a sign of belief, what's the flip side of belief? Delusion. People are following these religions that have come about in the last 2,000 years or so in the age of Pisces, Christianity and Islam. And you see the Crusades. Bro, tell me this. So if y'all have the same holy sites, you deduced that these holy sites are for the same God that y'all are worship, or you deduced the worship sites for your God are the same. Logically, that means your gods are the same. But no. You have the Crusades, and then you fight against which God gets to use it. Isn't that fucking stupid? That's some age of Pisces shit, bro. It's delusion. And because, you know, the influence of this moon god is the warrior god, people go to war for this shit. You got suicide bombers. You got motherfuckers, you know, tearing people down based for their god. What type of God would sanction this, bro? Look, I believe God is love, and that's the main point of this video. We need to rid ourselves of this influence of Yahwism, as, you know, this YouTuber Esoterica, I don't know his actual name, but he has a channel called Esoterica. He goes a very thorough explanation of the history of Yahweh. I highly suggest that you check this video out. But as he said, you know, Yahwism was basically like a cult around this storm god. He was manifested as, you know, the storm. He came to bring frightening storms. He's a guy who commands fear. Why? To bring control to things. You know what I'm saying? Because when the influence of Venus gets too hard, you become too chaotic. That's why, you know, in life, you need some, you know, rules to go by. You feel me? Some commandments, some things you live by to bring that chaos into order, which is a common trope. And I know some of y'all hotep ass niggas gonna say, oh, he said order out of chaos. Dumbass nigga, that's ancient wisdom, basically. You know what I'm saying? That's ancient cyclical wisdom. Like I said, a lot of very evil, malevolent people have corrupted ancient knowledge. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about getting rid of this cult of Yahwism and getting rid of this idea that, you know, God and religious worship has to be based around all this fear, because really all it's created is a bunch of toxicity in the world. You got toxic parents, toxic priests, toxic people who are always going to war for their warrior God. And I'm trying to tell y'all that just because there's a God who has certain characteristics that, you know, came to balance out things within the world, does not mean this is the God of all time that we need to be worshiping, bro. We moving into a new age, okay? Don't let dumb Christian motherfuckers tell you, oh my God, the age of Aquarius, that's satanic talk. This is the satanic age. Like, first of all, a lot of things aren't good or bad. They just are, okay? So don't let niggas sit there and tell you certain shit is satanic. What I believe is satanic is anything done for the benefit of your human self. And even at that, there's certain times in life where you got to do some shit to enjoy yourself as a human, bro. You got to realize good and bad. There's not like, nothing should be all good all the time. You need bad to balance out the good. Like, without darkness, how do you know what light is? Exactly, my nigga. But yeah, let me get to the lesson of the video, because the lesson of the video is not to roast a god. I don't want to tear down gods. I don't tear down deities for fun. I don't believe I can tear down deities. I don't believe, you know, in that, because he has his place in his time, and his place in his time was this recent period of the world. But we have to let go. We have to put faith over fear, my nigga. Why would God be something that you fear, bro? God is love, bro. You got to put faith first. Faith is the opposite of fear. See, the only thing that makes people confused to think that having fear in this deity is the same as having faith is that stability. Because if you fear something, you're pretty stable in the fact that you're going to do anything and everything to try and avoid it. Your whole mind is based around trying to avoid it. But you have to have faith in the world and faith in your life and faith in yourself and love for yourself, bro. That's how we're going to move into this new age. That's how we have to move. That's how we have to come. Now, when it comes to the, the spiritual consciousness or whatever, I do use the word God, you know what I'm saying? The creator of all things. Why? Because I was indoctrinated into that. And that's, that's the word that resonates with me. When I say thank God, it feels better than thank the universe. Because, nigga, that requires a thought process. What's natural to me is thank God. And I know y'all Christian niggas gonna be in the comments like, that's what, but no. It's because as a kid, the concept of the creator of all things was introduced to me as God, and it was rooted in me. So yeah, man, by roasting Yahweh, I just wanted to tell y'all that, first of all, this God of all things or whatever, this God of all time is really a God of some of the time, and he just came in and had his influence, you know what I'm saying? He had his influence on the world when he did. This is kind of like his age right now, manifested through Jesus Christ. And you know what? Let me touch on Jesus Christ a bit. I love Jesus because I feel like he was enlightened. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Jesus really knew what was up in terms of God being love and compassion, because Jesus understood the idea of the liberator and the redeemer. You feel me? Jesus was the embodiment of the redeemer. And then some people say Lucifer or Venus is the embodiment of the liberator. A lot of Christians will have you believing you only have to follow Jesus. And no, you need to liberate yourself and then also redeem yourself, because in life, things become chaotic. You have to bring them to order. Things become too dogmatic and rigid. You have to free them. Life is an endless loop going back and forth and back and forth. So I love Jesus because he said, you know what? Treat everyone with love and compassion. I heavily believe that. I believe that love is the answer to a lot of things. And I feel like Jesus was love manifested, love and forgiveness in the age of Pisces, where people needed it. You know what I'm saying? Where people needed to understand what forgiveness was and to be redeemed for their sins, and know that that's really the beauty of Christianity, if you ask me, that at the end of the tunnel, there is someone, no matter how much fucked up shit you think you did, there is someone out there who loves you and wants to redeem you and absolve you of your sins. But where you become enlightened is realizing that the person that needs to love you is yourself. And I don't mean yourself as in your human self, as in your name, that person. No, I mean love yourself as creation and love creation and use creation to manifest the love. The creation is love. Also, I don't know if I mentioned in the video at all, but Yahweh historically has always been the God of Israel. So, of course, when it comes to people who believed in this folklore and this story as a culture, of course, they're going to start to project characteristics of the, almighty God, El, onto their God of their nation. You know what I'm saying? To make that God more powerful. You see how history solves a lot of problems? Become egoless, put faith over fear, and I won't even say love yourself. Just become egoless and love. It's been real. This is Snowblunt talking. I'm out. I love y'all, but that's because we're all just love.